Starting here. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tat Chat number 124, the weekly Tuesday chat with myself and Nick. Still can't believe we've been. Oh, damn it! How long? That was me. That was me. Oh my bad. It's me. Yeah. Yeah. 124 episodes in, and we still make rookie mistakes like that. But welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us for another evening's chat. Nick, how are you?
Good, yeah. I'm just surprised it wasn't me that messed that up.
It happens, doesn't it?
You don't get the link for me a minute ago. You left it open.
I just forgot to mute it. Yeah, I always try to mute it, and I just forgot.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty chilled out, enjoying the weather. We've been having like really lovely weather up here. It's been incredible. Like blue skies, high temperatures, and just been trying to enjoy that. You know, it's just cool. And the chat tonight, just so you guys know, in the chat we've already got quite a few people in there, which is fantastic. It's going to be based on the Facebook Tat Chat group again. And for those of you that aren't, which I'm sure there's probably none of you in there, but for those of you that you don't know, I have left the link for the Tat Chat Facebook group in the description. We've found that the community has been providing really great like topics and things that are on that people do come across when they go into working for themselves, and they tend to share it on the Facebook Tat Chat Facebook group, and it's a really nice way of being able to address some of those topics in our weekly
video. It's helpful to have a starting off point, isn't it? Something to inspire the chats, because when you've done as many as we've done, you do feel like we're running out of conversation. But when we get a starting point and a few comments on the Facebook group, it's really helpful actually to give us something to hang these chats on.
Definitely. We have say a few hellos quickly. Benjamin D, Peter A, Dave Rowland, Claire and Leah are in here as well. Just scrolling down quickly. Richard Payne, Mr. Diggs, Ash, I'm the legend, flipping fantastic finds. People are making comments about Babyface. And Z has bird sound, says Peter A. Yeah, if you can hear sounds, it's because it's quite warm in the conservatory. So I'm sat here with the garden door open, and that means that, yeah, you may hear some bird sounds. It's not me.
You're looking a lot younger without the beard, I'll have to say.
Really?
It's quite stunning.
No, thank you. I'm just, yeah, it got to the point where it was just too much for me to cope with. I had a really bad incident with ice cream. You know, a couple of weeks back we did a car boot, you know, Nick. Becky and I did a car boot, and I, like, you know, during it I just popped over to the ice cream man and, you know, got like a couple of ice cream cones. And apparently when I got back to the car, it just, the guy at the stall next to us said it looked like you were foaming at the mouth. It was just everywhere, and it was just, you know, it was really embarrassing, and plus it was just, I couldn't eat it cleanly.
That was the final straw for the beard then.
Well, yeah, and then I even YouTubed it to see if I was doing something wrong, because I liked my beard. But apparently you've got to do all kinds of weird stuff and you know, to eat, like certain ways of eating by lifting your at that point I thought, no, forget it.
Or just get a spoon. So that would have worked.
Yeah, just get a spoon. Yeah, there's no spoon available. Well, right, let's get on with the topic. So the topic today was inspired by Jay Bentley, who's in the Facebook Tat Chat group, and it's something that we have touched on in the past, but it is something that a lot of people feel like, especially I feel, during certain times of year. We're right now, we're slap bang approaching summer, end of May, beginning of June, July, and I know for myself at least, like when I've looked at my sales for the year, etc., comparing it to previous years, there does tend to be a little dip in sales at this time of year, which is, you know, which tends to happen in retail. And Nick, I'm pretty sure you're used to that, having run bricks and mortar as well. I mean, is that something you could concur with or not?
Definitely in what we did, which was very Christmas oriented. We saw, well, it was pretty steady throughout the year, and then fourth quarter was where it all happened for us.
Yeah,
we were in media
Yeah.
So yeah.
But in summer specifically, did you notice you had to do any extra promotion or anything? Because I mean, I remember when I worked at Harrods, for example, they specifically have like a 10% weekend, like in the middle of, on certain bank holidays in these months, like, July, August, because
we tended to do okay because the kids were off school and we're in quite an affluent area, so they all had money to burn on computer games, and a lot of the computer games companies all had a couple of summer blockbusters out, so we did okay, really.
Oh, okay,
And
fair
kids
enough.
were trading in a lot because they wanted to buy new games, so we had a constant supply. So summer was okay for us, thankfully.
Oh, that's pretty good then. But in terms of, what about when comparing that to your eBay now, like when you're selling on
Yeah,
eBay?
online is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
We see quite a downturn after Christmas, and summer can be very hit and miss, depending
yeah,
on what you're selling, of course. If you're
yeah.
selling, I don't know, toys that are related to summer or summer clothing, you might see an upturn. Who knows?
If you've got like a stash of like Nerf and Super Soakers, and assuming that we actually do have a hot summer as well.
Yeah. Well, if the kids are off, Nerf will sell. That's all I know. Put your Nerf guns on for half term.
So I mean, and that's something that I think, when you have these kind of more challenging months, I suppose it's really easy to start doubting yourself and starting to question whether stuff's worth it. I mean, in the case of Jay Bentley's Facebook post, on the Tat Chat Facebook group, it was very much about, a bit of a down day. We all have down days where you literally, think, oh, what am I doing? The thought of giving up does happen to everyone. It's happened to me on a number of occasions, and I got through it, but it does happen. Obviously, once you're more established, I suppose, and once you've seen a few of these periods, then it becomes easier. But I do remember very much in my like first and second year, there were probably moments where I thought to myself, wow, can I actually do this? And you do question yourself. And one of the points that I found interesting was that, that got to Jay in that post was having the flare-ups of stock around the house. I think calling it tat probably just makes you feel worse if you're feeling like that. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've got
flare-ups of stock around the house. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she put it up as flare-ups, and seeing tat all over the place hasn't helped. And I think by calling it tat as well, I know we jokingly and lovingly call our inventory tat, but it is inventory, it is stock. And I suppose when you're feeling down, but if you're saying, oh, I've just got tat everywhere, it just makes you feel that much more like I need to get rid of it, because
well, it can certainly become overwhelming. We've all had those moments where we just look at it and it's just like, I just want a house that's clear of piles of stuff. We're kind of lucky in the fact that we have this which is separated from the house, and like you've got that room which is out the back, so to some extent it stays out of the house. But I mean, when we started this, we were in a 2 up, 2 down, tiny little rented house, and the stuff was everywhere. Our bedroom was full. Ellen's room was a storeroom with a cot in the corner, and our downstairs we had a tiny kitchen and a lounge, which was just our office and stockroom. And it was chaos, absolute chaos, and that was quite overwhelming, to say the least.
I mean, that's the thing. It is a very different situation. Like if you've come from employment where everything stays at work, you don't take work home with you. Here literally you're surrounding yourself with it all the time, and it can become difficult. And I mean, Jay did actually mention like about the point where I was feeling quite overwhelmed with dealing with the quantity of stock that we'd bought from like the RC hall. And I did feel really overwhelmed, and it was really stressful at one point just to have to kind of work through it all. But once I did, it was great. And I know that yourself, actually, you've taken a break from, because you recently obviously got that huge haul of car parts, and you've taken a break from it.
Yeah, I was just getting bored of listing car parts, just looking up part numbers and listing another filter and trying to find out which models it fits. And because we started boot selling again, I've got quite a variety of stuff, so I've been listing that. And now I've set myself the task to finish these cards before going back to car parts. And I said to you earlier, I've had a break of a month or so from car parts. I'm quite looking forward to cashing in a bunch more because there's loads of money in it.
But do you not find that they're kind of, obviously there's great money in them, but whilst they're not being dealt with, aren't they like that kind of grey cloud hanging out in the back? Because obviously you're listing other things and you're getting on with other things, which is fantastic, but you know that you've got that piles and piles of stock that is good quality gear.
It depends how you feel. If you're in a down mood, then yeah, you will look at it negatively. If you're in a positive mood, it's just like, look at all this money I've got in the loft, and look at all this money I've got that I haven't even started sorting out. But I think it totally depends on your outlook, and that's what it boils. A lot of the things we're talking about boil down to your outlook on any given day.
And where you are, I suppose, as well, like where you are in your journey. I mean, obviously, in the beginning of your journey, it's probably going to feel, because you've not had the other side of it, you may not have experienced the benefits of having all that stock there, and you may not have experienced the benefits of getting that much stock listed. You know, if you're early on in your journey, so you might not have, the kind of the good fortune of having that, that outlook.
Yeah, I was just reading Karen's comment. That's Karen Nocraft says, I'm nervous. Next month, had my best week ever last week and my best month so far, but I'm dreading that it was a one-off. And that just shows that even when you have a good time, it can almost put you into doubt because you think, can I do that again?
Yeah.
Do I have to do that again? It's like, have I set the bar here now and then anything else is less than?
It very much can feel like that. Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, it's such a, you're in total control of this. That's the issue. You're in complete control. And a lot of people that came into that thread as well, gave a lot of decent advice. Like, I think Caroline Celtic Traders were like, if it's really stressing you out, you could even consider auctioning the stuff off and doing small manageable job lots of auctions to clear the stuff. So you might not make very much money doing it that way, but peace of mind is important. And quite a few people came in and actually mentioned that peace of mind and having a clear space is important. And even I think Graham Nichols even put in some links for some heavy duty racking and things like that. Seem so simple, but they're so important because it is your home space. Even when you've got it tucked away as much as you can, things do tend to inevitably creep in. And even if you draw the curtains, like we've got the conservatory, we could draw the curtains and not look at it, you still know it's there. So if it's not organized, and if it doesn't seem manageable to you, like if the volume of stock doesn't seem manageable to you, that can build more and more pressure on you, I think. And so it's definitely worth looking at keeping that stuff under control. And and piles of stock is a possibility. Is a positive thing in a way. Like you said, it depends on your outlook. You've got piles of money sat there, but equally it's also a sign of some level of inefficiency unless you've specifically bought it to store for, for example, if you buy something and store it for a certain occasion, like for example Halloween or Valentine's or Christmas, that's different. But if you've just got piles and piles of stock and you're so much that you just can't list enough and you're going out and getting more, that is a bit of inefficiency, and we all suffer from that. I mean, I can shame myself now. I mean, I've got stuff that I bought actually at the weekend with you guys, you and Tom, and I'm only just getting around to listing some of it. It's just been sat around. Just
same here.
Yeah,
totally. But I do think what I said before rings true with me, though, that it totally depends where you're at in your head. If you're in a positive frame of mind, I can look at a day and say, well, I've done enough today already in sales to be comfortable. And that's kind of where my head's at most of the time. If the sales are ticking along, to me, it doesn't almost matter what I haven't listed or what's sat in the loft. The only time I would start to doubt myself or panic would be when the sales aren't happening. And then because I've got this stuff to rely on, I can always put my foot down and have a week where I bash the listings out.
Yeah.
I think, but again, if I'm having a down day, and believe you me, I have down days where I think, what the hell am I doing? And then everything's wrong. And then I can't look at anything positively. The mess is a problem. The backlog is a problem. So it all comes down to my frame of mind. And that's the constant battle with me, is keeping positive. Indie Chick says there, in a single hour, I can swing from this is the best thing ever to why the hell am I doing this crap?
Yeah.
And I can concur with that. I snap out of it quite quickly, but I can have days where I just can't. I really can't deal with it, and I just don't.
Exactly. Me. You will have those days where you're just unproductive. Like unproductive, is that the word? I don't know. Not productive.
Yeah.
I mean, we.
And that's natural. That's the thing. We're not always positive, happy people. At least I'm not.
No.
I think that's inhuman to be permanently full of the joys of spring and everything's wonderful. It's not realistic, is it?
I mean, Beck and I last week. I don't think last week we did even a single thing on eBay. Literally, like the whole week. I think we managed to avoid doing any work. We just weren't. We couldn't get our head. We always had excuses why not to. And sometimes you need that. And at first, it would be looking at it. It would seem like, oh wow, how can you do that? But then you look at it the other way. When I was working, I was regularly getting 28 days of paid holiday every year. And like we can't remember the last time we took any proper time off. You just don't. And I think you can get to a point sometimes where you can just work.
Yeah.
And then you'll just something obviously somewhere in your mind or body will just say, actually, no, that's it now. And no matter how much you try, you'll
getting to the point where you can remember to take time out and look after yourself and not beat yourself up for not working. That's the trick of it, isn't it? Because I know we've both talked about this, where we have a day where we're totally unproductive and we're in our mind, we're beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
But of course we should take time out. Like you just said, people in regular 9 to 5 real jobs have paid holiday, have where they take time out. And are they thinking about work? Hell no.
No. and that's the thing, even on, like I said, we had the week off. Well, apart from the fact that we were shipping every day, apart from the fact we were answering customer questions every day, accepting offers and just generally popping in and out of the store as you do anyway. So even our days off aren't really off, are they? When we say off, I suppose we just mean we didn't even try to photograph or list anything or whatever. I mean, Claire and Leah have kindly super chatted £2 and asked a question. Yeah. How do you both stay motivated? I mean, I think you just have to be someone that is motivated. I think you just have to be a motivated person. I don't know if it's naturally or not, but you have to have some level of get up and go. I
really think the motivation can come from various different places for different people. For me, the motivation is to remind myself why I'm doing this, the reasons I don't want a real job, a 9 to 5, the reasons I chose to do this in the first place. If you can keep that in your mind, that's your motivation to keep going, to make it work. But there are many motivations. I mean, paying your bills is the main one for most people, I think.
Yeah, completely.
That's a necessity. I'm so far behind in this.
Yeah, Karen Nocraft says, I think it's important to take time out, literally going out to get away from work. Yeah, I mean, I think getting away from the house can help as well. And Indie Chick says, my main source of stress is wondering where the next bit of stock will come from, even when I have loads of stock already.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
See, that's putting stress on yourself you don't need to put on then.
Yeah.
Don't stress about the thing that getting more when you've got more than enough.
And Peter Cummins says, I'm overwhelmed by Lego haul. The checking of sets is completely doing my head in. Would love to have a haul of new items. And I think that's another thing. I think like it's worth touching upon this. And this will probably help a lot of people to stay positive and motivated. The reason why a lot of you guys decided you wanted to work for yourself is because you don't like to just follow orders. You don't like to be bossed or be told what to do, right? And that's one of the main elements, isn't it? Because otherwise, in a lot of cases, it's easier just to have a job. Like we said, paid holidays. You can switch off. You don't have to be productive. You can. I mean, I was the best unproductive worker ever. No employer would have ever really wanted a staff member like me. I did. I was one of those people that the other, the hardworking staff members, they used to despise me because I'd still get paid what they were getting paid. And they were caring and I was not, and I'm not proud of that. I'm ashamed of that. It's part of the reason why I wanted to not be in or put myself through that negative situation. Now when you guys decide to work for yourself, by putting yourself there's obviously a lot of information and a lot of stuff out there that you can learn from. And at first, it's completely natural to see what people are doing and do that. But in the end, you've got to find what you want to do. So just because you've seen someone, for example, we're selling RC parts, just because you've seen that we're selling RC parts and then you guys decided to go out and buy a bunch of RC parts, you might find they might not work for you. And then suddenly you'll be left with a bunch of stuff that you don't have any natural kind of affiliation or care for. And then it's not working for you and it will just turn against you. So, for example, we've all seen Ben and Nick do really well selling games, board games and things like that. However, if I buy a board game and, it just sits there, or in the past I had bought board games and they turned out to be a nightmare for me. I've bought Lego and it turned out to be a nightmare for me. And just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it works for you. And also, find what is what you'd enjoy doing, because at the end of the day, that's why you started this whole journey. So it makes sense to instill that in your business as well.
Yeah.
Sorry for going on the ramble, but yeah, it's just
But also, there is an element of work in what we do, and not all elements of this are going to be fun. I think also I'd like to kind of play devil's advocate and say, don't go into this thinking I'm just going to do stuff that's really good fun or that I love doing, because you may fall short, because maybe you can't find an endless haul of computer games if that's what you're into. So there is an element of this where you do have to somehow motivate yourself to do the stuff you don't enjoy, the listing, for example, or the packaging, if that's not your thing. So there is a certain amount of this.
I get what you're saying, but it's a good point that the listing and packaging, definitely, that's something that's not everyone's cup of tea. But when you said about, for example, computer games, we know people like, you obviously had a chat with Jory, and there are lots of other sellers out there, that you do see who are resilient and are on it every time. I mean, we've all seen those guys at the car booths. It's the same guys that you see week after week picking up the video games and the consoles. If you want to be a video games dealer, I say go and be a video games dealer. Really go for it. Like, devote every moment of your day to finding video game stuff, because you'll find it if you really go for it, because you do see people that love it and do it. And the plenty of examples of stores out there that eBay stores and whatever, or Amazon stores, where they just mainly deal in that. It means you're going to have to work super hard, but you probably won't feel that it's too much work, because you'll process it and get through it all.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I mean, just trying to think, is that even viable? I guess it is.
Like I reckon if you really went for it, like helpful,
really hard. Yeah. But as Darren has proved, actually, thinking about it, he's bought halls at auction all over the country and had the stuff sent to him. And still made good profit on top of that.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's like the Warhammer fiend now, isn't he? He's like Warhammer on Warhammer.
Yeah, but video game tools as well, going back to video games. So it just proves that the stuff is there, but you have to put in X amount of work on top of what you'd normally go to find stuff, because everybody is after it.
I mean,
you're right. I mean, you can create a
niche for yourself
if you work hard enough.
Yeah. And I think if you do that, you take away one of the things that you might not like doing. So, for example, you might being a generalist is a fantastic way to start. That's how that's what we started doing when we were building our store. It was being a generalist. But I've got to say, guys, like, since niching off, it's just changed everything for us. It really has, and in such a good way. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, we can afford to not have to work in the same way as everyone else. Like, car boots really are a pleasure now. They're not
is that because the pressure's off?
Yeah, because it means like you don't have to, when we go to a car boot now, I mean, we've enjoyed selling at them, by the way. We really have. Like, we're looking to do it again.
You were so anti it.
I know, right?
Like, come on, just have a go.
Yeah, I really was anti it, wasn't it? Oh no, I hate it, standing around for 4 hours, it'd be rubbish. I know, I said all those things completely. But yeah, absolutely love it.
I've just noticed J Ben has said the flare-ups that we mentioned were relating to my long-term illness, and the stuff is not tat, but it's yours and Nick's fault for calling it tat in the first place.
Oh, thanks for clearing that up, Jay. Appreciate it.
Flare-ups were an illness. Okay,
fantastic. Right.
I'm going to try and catch up.
Yeah, we're a bit behind. Is he playing a BBC bird sounds with Bill Oddie CD in the background? Are they really coming through that loud?
Yeah, I can hear him. Richard Payne says, I'm glad I sell a large variety of items, in brackets, anything really. I would easily get bored listing the same stuff all the time.
Perfect example of why you should do what works for you.
Yeah, it's horses for course. I mean, you just said that
Yeah.
the RC stuff has changed your business beyond recognition.
Our mindset as well.
Still may not suit anybody.
No. Well, no, it's a mindset thing as well. I mean, now we don't enjoy as much listing individual items. I'm sure, you know, we would if we came across lots that we wanted to. I mean, if I come across something that's profitable, you know, as long as it's profitable enough, I'll still buy it to sell. You know, I'm not going to just turn it away. However, it's going to have to now be profitable enough for me to want to go through the, in my head, rigmarole or hassle of starting a new listing. Because right now I'm in a place where I can just get stock of a certain kind. I've got templates ready. I've got, you know, an idea of what works. You know, we've got a pipeline. That's the key thing as well. We've got a source, and we can just, you know, trundle along. I mean, it's fine.
Well, it's interesting as well, because, you know, I've been bashing through these epoxy cards
the
last week or however long, and it's so easy, and they're turning over really fast.
Yeah.
And for what I'm invested in, and they're making really good money. And I've had moments when it's like, why don't I just do this? I might look for some job lots of this.
Yeah.
But instantly, I hear myself say it, and I know I would get bored stiff so quick.
Yeah.
So I won't. I'm not going down that route.
And there are examples of people that have businesses based on selling trading cards as well.
Absolutely.
Completely. Yeah. I mean, if you love it, yeah, exactly. If you love it, it's great. But it's good that you can recognize that it would, like you say, bore you stiff. And then it's exactly what we keep on saying. What works for one person may not work for someone else. What you see working for one person may not work for someone else. And that's why it's so key to really look at what you enjoy doing, how you can put your kind of personal stamp on what you're doing and really go after that, because all of us have to battle against, like you said, listing, shipping, customer service. Everyone that sells online has those three elements to deal with, and sourcing as well. Sourcing, listing, shipping, and customer service.
I think we have to battle with our life just becoming Groundhog Day. We might as well go and get a regular job if it just becomes wake up, go in, do the same shit all day also. And you know what I mean? And I think that's a part of why I've always ended up coming back to doing
general stuff,
not knowing what I'm going to be looking for or finding. And that's the excitement. That's what keeps it alive for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, even when we have niched down, I've struggled, because when I'm out and about looking for clothing, for example, when we were just doing that, I was buying other stuff anyway, because I can't leave it behind.
Yeah.
So I just naturally came back to doing whatever.
Should mention, Jay Ben says, please shout out to all of the people who commented and gave me some moral support. I've had a good kick up the backside and managed to clear and post a load of Sylvanian stuff, so now I have some room. There we go. That's fantastic.
Well, that's what a big part of what the Touch Up group is for. It's a community of people that are going to understand what you're talking about, understand the problems. You imagine going to the pub and telling a group of mates, I'm really struggling because I've got piles of board games in the corner of my office. They'll be like, what is wrong with you? You know?
Yeah, completely.
But
completely.
People in there hopefully will understand a bit of where you're coming from and can give you some
and pivotal profit, as also said, bulk buys are what kill me. Listing the similar thing again and again just drives me crazy and makes me question my occupation. Great money though. And again, there you go. There's an example of someone that's maybe forcing themselves to do something that they know is profitable, but would probably be happier doing something a little bit different. But if the money's good enough, I suppose that can be a motivation for some people.
Absolutely. I mean, necessity is the mother of all invention, they say, don't they? And if necessity is you need X amount of money and buying a bulk job lot is going to fill that hole, then you do it, don't you? That's the motivation sometimes to perhaps do something that isn't exciting for you. You know what I mean? There's that side of it as well. But for me, I can stomach doing the same thing for maybe a week or two at a time, and then I have to drop it and move on and do something else, because I get bored.
Yeah. Oh wow, we're so far behind in the chat.
Are
It's
we?
just insane. Yeah. Really far behind. Like really far. Yeah. Simon says a good way to manage non-selling stock is to sell at the car boot sale. I did that Sunday and got my money back from those purchases. I bought some new stuff, but should shift it quicker.
I think Simon did a video about that actually. I saw it came up in my feeds. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Claire and Leah, yes, we did mention your super chat. Thank you again for your super chat. Yeah, about how you both stay motivated. And yeah, we did answer. I mean, Nick gave a good answer about that. And you know, I think for me, I just reckon it was just, I think you have to have that a certain personality, and I think people that are drawn to working for themselves have that personality where they are to an extent self-motivated. I mean, you know, I think you have to have a certain level of getting things done. You know,
I think so. I think for a lot of people, the motivation is, I don't want to go back and get a real job. I have to make this work. And you just keep plugging away until you find what works. It's kind of as simple as that for some people. That's kind of what we've done, really. We've just kept changing it up and moving on and just making it work. And that's kind of what you've done. You've made this work for you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You wouldn't imagine being in this position, selling things how you do now.
No, completely not. Leah's actually just said from Claire and Leah, I'm always motivated. Claire isn't. She isn't like me. It's hard. We're meant to do this together. And me, I do it all and my full-time job just the way it is. And I think that there reflects what I just said, that I think you have to have you've got to be a certain personality type. You know, yes, you can get motivated by necessity, like you've mentioned, Nick, like for example, bills being due or whatever. But even that isn't, you know, it's not necessarily a motivation. I mean, like I remember very vividly one of the things that used to get my back up like nothing else, and this was when I was still providing for Beck, for my young daughters at the time, when I had my jobs, when I used to get threatened with, oh, you know, do your performance or do this, you know, if you want your job, or whenever some manager insinuated that, you know, my job was up for grabs, my initial go-to reaction always was, take your job. In fact, I actually said to one of my managers in the past, take your effing car, I don't want it anymore, come and pick it up, stick your effing job. And I just lost it. Because and I needed that job, guys. I needed it. But that was my genuine knee-jerk response, and I can't shake that. So those things don't motivate me, but luckily I think I've got a certain level of self-motivation. You know, you have to have that get up and go attitude.
Yeah. Well, financial motivation will only take you too far, is what you're saying. And we have the very same personality where if we're not happy, or we're being forced to do something we're not happy doing, we're just going to snap. We're going to get to a point and snap, no matter how many bills we've got to pay.
No, it's just like irrelevant.
But people are different, and we probably both know people that have stuck in jobs for 10, 20, 30 years that they moan about daily.
My dad comes to mind. He's the opposite. He's just grinded his whole life because of the bills. He's hated the job he's had, but my dad just comes to mind with that instantly. It's you know, he's such a hard-working guy, and he just, like, he had bills, he will just work, that's it. Same with my mum as well, to be honest, but they had that kind of mentality that they did jobs that they just hated, but because they, you know, for the greater good, as it were.
I think tolerances are different in different people, and we have perhaps a low threshold for being told what to do,
and that's a weakness in a way. You know, in some people's eyes, that's just a weakness, because
maybe.
You know, and I've questioned it myself, and you know, me and Beck have had real heated conversations about this, because it's like, you know, hold on, I have responsibilities, you know, whereas Beck would go and, you know, put up with something if she had to. I've said in the past I wouldn't do that, and she's like, yeah, you would. You've got a family, you know. And actually I would, but my initial knee-jerk reaction is very much like, you know,
it's an interesting different topic, really. Is that a strength or a weakness, isn't it? You know, because depends how it pans out long term, isn't it?
It really does, yeah. Just should mention Graham Nichols super chatted £5. Thank you, Graham.
I missed that.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're behind in the chat.
What did Graham say? I missed it.
Watched Z's YouTube video this week regarding setting up my own overseas postage. It helped me a lot. So here's a small thank you for your help. I really appreciate that. I'm glad the video was of use, Graham. Thank you very much. It's very generous and kind of you. That's just amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah. Will you take less? Says I would like to be self-employed so I can sit down when I want. My feet are killing me. And Ash, I'm the legend, says the only problem I have is a never-ending anxiety where I think I won't find enough at the car boot. Never happens, but sits on my mind. That reminds me of something you say at the beginning of every car boot season.
Yeah, it is weird. No matter how many times I've gone out, every year you think, is the stuff going to be there? Are the boot sales going to be the same? It's weird, but the stuff's always there. And I really think that subconsciously I keep a backlog. We tried for most of last year to clear it. And if you noticed, I didn't clear it. In fact, we went out and bought our biggest haul ever when we hadn't even finished clearing it. And I think for me, it's a safety net. It really is. So I don't have that anxiety of thinking I've got to go and find stuff. I think that's really why we live with this, because it makes us feel comfortable and
kind of comfort.
Yeah.
See, like I still, for me, it's not. That's something I can't. Like for me, it's just, it's too much for me. I have to keep it, to a minimum. I don't think it affects me really badly. Like having too much. I'd rather have the stress of going out and finding it when I need it, which is a risky strategy, but I just, mentally for me, having too much work piled up in advance, it doesn't go well with me. And that's why I think I had a bit of a struggle with the RCN. Thank God that's when like Beck just, monstered through that. But
it's fascinating, isn't it? Because I mean, in every aspect of what we do, I mean, just comparing us two, we differ no end in every aspect of
pretty much.
Yet the net result in what we do is pretty much the same. It's
exactly.
So there's so many ways of doing this, and if people take one thing away from this, again, and we've said this so many times, it's just finding out what works for you as a personality, what sort of business you want to create, and just go ahead and do it. Take advice, but realize that you've just got to find out what works for you, because you won't know until you try.
It is completely unique. Your business is going to be unique to you. It's going to always be that way. And that, you're the reason why you started this journey was for those unique reasons, for creating something for yourself, not having to work for someone. And, creating your own income has so many different meanings, doesn't it? I mean, you've got people that have, moved, started maybe on eBay, and then they found success on a completely different method of earning money. Like, for example, Margaret, did a lot of eBay at first, but now she's heavily into like merch and Etsy, and there's so many different ways of earning an income.
Exactly. And Margaret threw herself into FBA at one point, and then within a fairly short period of time realized that wasn't for her, pulled everything out and quit it. Whereas another person we know very well, Tom, just does so well at FBA, an FBA monster. And it's fascinating. Different things suit different people.
Tap Peddler says, handed in my notice on to go full-time reselling. Feel I reached my limit doing it part-time. Excited to get started. Also, any chance of a shout out to my YouTube channel? Of course, Tap Peddler. Tap Peddler in the chat has got a new YouTube channel. Feel free to click on the 3 buttons and you'll be able to go to his channel and subscribe to it.
So Tap Peddler
has made the full-time leap.
I don't know how long the notice is, but that's always an exciting moment.
Yep, Karen has echoed, we are all on our own journey, and as long as turning over profit, then there isn't a wrong way. Yeah, completely. I think it does come down to that, and I think by doing that, you will minimize those those questioning days. I think the times where I questioned things the most were when I was, it was kind of at that learning stage, when I was seeing what more experienced guys like yourself and others were doing. Like, I was watching a lot of Joe's pickups, your pickups, and and you start kind of making a mashup almost of what you see, and it doesn't always work because you're just spread out in all these different ways. I mean, it didn't work for me. I mean, for other people that would work. That's the whole point. It's so hard to say it didn't work, because it's like it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me.
Even I've suffered from that. If I'm having a down day, and I'll watch some YouTube videos of people that are just caning it, doing fantastic things. Even this long into me doing this full time, I'll doubt my methods, I'll doubt what I'm doing, and I'll think I should be doing that, what this guy is doing. He's really doing it. And it'll only last for a few hours, and then I'll snap out of it and go, no,
I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy. Well, exactly. As long as you've got that contentness, as long as you're content with where you are. And, conversely, you don't, that it's the same point really, but if you see someone else doing great in another way, you can learn from them, but it might suit that person. That business may only be doable by that person.
Well, I think the key is, just because somebody else is doing well doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong, or it should be looked at negatively. You can take inspiration, but if you just do a direct comparison, all you're ever going to do is feel inferior. If somebody's doing bigger numbers, or they're turning over more, or whatever. And always remember, and we've said this before, you don't know the backstory. You don't know how much they've got invested in that. You don't know what their margin is sometimes.
Yeah,
it's all very well to say, I've turned over X amount of whatever.
We always say that. I mean, that's why I think going forward, we're not going to bother with the graphs anymore, because it's pointless in a way. We're showing our turnover, but for all you guys know, we could be like selling all that at a loss. You don't know what it's just pointless. And like, for example, there's that lady Leanne Ball who's shared an amazing story on her growth on her business. Now, it sounds amazing, and you can take inspiration from it, and you can see people buzz when they see those posts, and I absolutely love it when she posts those like amazing sales figures. But then you have to, like you say, take that moment and sit back and think, would you be able to run that business? And unless you had the same like passion and interest in that particular niche of clothing, because even within clothes, it's a specific type of clothing and brand that she sells and is extremely successful with. But unless you had that same passion and same commitment to that particular brand and niche, and to be willing to do the work required, because we're talking some high number of parcels and shipping and work and storage and offices and employees, unless you wanted all of that along with it, those figures come with all of that stuff. You can't have those particular figures that are there without that stuff, the other stuff that came with it. Not to say you can't make the same money by doing something different. You can, but those particular numbers were posted by that particular person with that particular business, is what I'm saying. You can easily make the same money doing something completely different. There'll be 20 grand a month or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure Pete Craigslist Hunters recently uploaded a video, and his thumbnail is his 30-day sales, and they're like 80 grand. Now, he's made 80 grand in sales through probably his massive high value eBay items. Maybe he bought some amazing, I've not been following him recently, but he's probably bought some amazing things. But there'll be probably someone else out there who sells, for example, high value jewelry, who might make 80 grand in 30 days as well by selling a tenth of the items, but the margins will be different. The knowledge required will be different.
Pete is a great example, because he has such an infrastructure set up. It's got people bringing stuff to him. He has contacts all over the place. He has staff. He has all of these overheads in the storage and the shop, etc. So you have to take those things into account. I'm just going to read some of the chat, because I'm still way behind. Pivotal Prophet said, whenever I doubt myself, I just think about how I am not a slave to my alarm clock 5 days a week, or the motivation I need. And Simon Mitchell again says, finding the balance is the key. I think we all have our own limits and limitations, but we have to do everything which includes going out and doing whatever that isn't eBay. What? We have to do everything which includes going out and doing whatever that isn't eBay and work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Will Higgs has made a really good point as well, and this really does resonate with Jay's post on the Tat Chat group. Last week, I sent my stock list to another toy dealer for a wholesale job lot and giving up. Then this week, I think, hell no, after the day I've had clearing a drain at my real job in inverted commas. And that's a great example of the roller coaster that you will go through. And that's coming to, we've had discussions about the similar thing. I remember when we were training for the moonwalk, and I was saying to you, oh, why don't I just like job lot this whole lot and just cash in and this, and it happens.
Yeah. But I guess you have to kind of explore those thoughts and talk about them rationally, and sometimes that might be the right decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is complicated. It really is.
Karen says, have you niche C? Would never have guessed. Yeah, okay. I do go on about. Simon Mitchell asked, Nick, how is Habu going? Would you only recommend it for what you think will be fast moving stock, or just to send everything in?
Habu is good. I spoke to Martin the other day. We're going to hook up soon for another chat to kind of wrap up that whole experiment. We've sold the vast majority of all the car mats that we sent up.
Wow.
For me, I would use it again. I would use it for bulky stock that is a real pain to store and package, because that's what you're paying. You do obviously pay them to pick, pack and ship your stuff. But if that's, for example, the car mats, they were big and bulky and really awkward to package. So that was worth what they were charging to do that. So yeah, I can strongly recommend it. I have not had one issue with their service. So from that side of things, absolutely. But yeah, hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get Martin on and chat again about that.
Karen says, I used to hate clothing. The other day I had a bed full of non-clothing to list and I hated it. Does that mean you just hate everything? Or like, does that mean you prefer clothing now too?
Oh, Tap Peddler goes on to say, thanks, guys, because he's obviously taken the leap to full-time. He says, very scary resigning, as even though I do well off eBay part-time, it doesn't match my current salary, but confident going at it full-time, I'll be able to match or exceed. Well, it's down to you now. That's the moment where it's like, yeah.
Well, yeah, sometimes if you put yourself in that position, like we've mentioned, it's sometimes the necessity can help you through. So it can do.
And most people, just going back to Tap Peddler again, most people will have those thoughts and won't take that step. So hats off to you for, risking it, because let's be honest, there's a risk involved. So you'll have to let us know. Well, Tap Peddler has got a channel, you were saying. So yeah, we will keep. I don't know if I'm going to click through and sub if I'm not already. Doing it now.
Yeah. Fee Selling says, hi, Nick and Zia. I've been enjoying both your channels for a couple of months and have learned so much. Thanks for the great content. Oh, I appreciate that. It's a lovely comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm already subbed to Tap Peddler. There you go. I can't keep up with who I'm subbed to or not.
And Ads Robinson says, I think also not just reselling, but changing your entire business and adapting your business type to help stop going back to work. Lol. I want to do reselling part-time alongside part-time investing. Yeah, exactly. I suppose, your bigger goal can be, that you just don't ever want to work for somebody again. And I think that tends to be the driving force behind all of this. I mean, when I speak to Beck as well, that's exactly what comes through. We would do anything. You got to have the why, as people say. And I suppose our ultimate why is we just, why are you doing any of what you're doing? It's to avoid having to go and work for somebody else. And I think that for us is probably strong enough. Because it does, the thought is just too much, man. I'm not kidding you.
No, well, that was definitely the motivation for Andrea and myself. We just didn't want to. We didn't want the commute. We didn't want the BS that we used to have from management. We didn't want to feel like a very unimportant small cog in a giant uncaring machine, effectively. And that's what we felt like. So, yeah. Fascinating, isn't it?
Oh yeah, going through more comments. Hi, all, says David McGregor. Not caught a live video in ages. I'm loving how chiseled and fresh face. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have read that. Thank you, David. Stephen Moore says it was such a relief when I told my horrible boss in January to stick her job. Now I can say it to myself every so often in the mirror, as I am my own boss. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to look at yourself and be like, would I hire me today? And that's sometimes the motivation you need, because you can be like, actually, I've worked so badly this week, I would sack myself on the spot. It's true. I mean,
that's being ultra hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Your coats are here. You've fired yourself.
I've fired myself. Yeah.
You've crossed the line. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. Frankie's Fine says, when I was younger, it was easy for me to say, I got kids, they pay me to do what they want, so I'll do it. But once the kids got older, I became less cooperative and more vocal. Time to retire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Southwest Seller says, Graham Nichols cannot give a thumbs up. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay. So, well, hello. Oh, gosh. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate the comment.
Good. Adrian, Mr. Diggs Deal said, for me, my next big reselling step is to sort out my YouTube channel. So another potential channel coming.
There we go.
Every time I go to start it, something gets in the way.
Oh, see, it's a great way of documenting what you're doing. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Sazga says, I continually buy stock, so I'll have a backlog and supply if supply ever dries up. I have piles and piles of unlisted stock. I wish I could get to a place where I list everything I buy in the same week. See, you've almost had two different opinions. Like when I was reading the beginning part of that comment, Sazguest, it seemed like you know, you were buying it because you like the fact that you've got a backlog if your supply dries up. But then you say you wish you get to a place where you could list everything you buy in the same week. And I think that is the conundrum that everyone faces, I think. And, you know, I suppose what you have to do is you have to judge how much it's impacting your performance, I suppose. Yeah. You know, how much is impacting your productivity.
We've always veered from one to the other. And I said to you earlier that I really think it's a safety blanket for us having this stock, but I crave not having any stock, and having a clear working environment and not having this chaos going on.
Yeah.
But I think I'm slowly coming to the realization that it's going to remain a backlog.
Pixie Dust Gaming says, question, what do people do with their stock that does not sell on eBay? Do you give it to charity or try to sell it at a car boot? Bit of both, I would say, going forward. Yeah, I would take some stuff to charity, to the car boots, and you know, if it doesn't sell at a car boot, then you could always, if it's decent, obviously still take it to a charity shop, because sometimes, you know, just because something didn't sell at a car boot doesn't mean it won't sell. It just means it didn't sell that time, right?
Yeah, we do a car boot once or twice a year, and then we give everything that's left to cancer research generally. Somebody just mentioned, did our fundraiser reach 2,000? And it did. I'm going to pop in there if you don't mind.
Oh, of course not. Of course, yeah.
I'm just setting up the window. Hold on.
Log into it.
Why is it not working?
I've got it up. Hold on. Let me think. I think.
Oh, go on.
You got it?
You do it.
Okay, I'll do it. It has it? Is this the page? There we go.
Oh, I've got it now. You got it?
Yeah, I've got it. Hold on. Is this it? Screen share? Here we go.
There was a very generous chap who was in our chat last night who said, if you don't reach 2,000 by the end of the day or the end of the night, he would make it up to 2,000. And he was true to his word. It was Stephen there, top one.
Yep, Stephen T35 gave 33.26 and told you I'd make it to 2,000. And yes, our goal was only £400, £100 each, but we overall have raised £2,000, which is amazing. So just amazing, really. Yeah, and that includes all, you guys did the really generous thing as well, where all the super chats and everything, and you know, you had family donations as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we collected some cash from family, so that we just added it on that way.
Absolutely fantastic. So,
and a bunch of super chats from you generous guys out there, which we added on.
superb. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, I still need to edit the vlog of the day. I've got loads of clips, tons of it.
Stephen Moore says the weekend I was really doubting about myself doing this. Then I sold a book for over £700. Doubt's gone.
What?
And okay, that's amazing in two senses, because yes, selling a book for over £700 is insane, and congratulations, that is a fantastic sale. But it's also amazing because a lot of us can resonate with that. There have been so many times where you are questioning everything you do, and all it takes is a couple of good sales to come through, and suddenly your confidence is back, you're feeling positive, you're feeling, why was I questioning myself in the first place? Yeah, absolutely amazing sale. I would love to know what book that is.
I know, that's an amazing flip. Wow.
Exactly. Graham Nichols says, I could probably run Leanne's business, but I just don't have the legs for it. Very funny.
Ryan says, question, have you thought of fitting some nice looking curtains in front of your tat shelf so you don't have to look at all that crap every day?
Some like really nice curtains. I mean, the thing is,
they just get annoying opening and closing them to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be, but that's actually quite a funny thought. Imagine having curtains in front of me. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh.
It would be great if you set it up to some little electronic thing.
Like, or you had a little pulley on the side of the shelves.
It made some fanfare noise whenever you opened it.
Yeah, little like streamers and things. I don't know why. The thought of that made me laugh. Thank you. It wouldn't be very productive.
Adrian has said, right, you lovely people, got to go. Stay safe, take care, be nice to all. Remember, the power of positivity is in you all. Respect from Mr. Diggs.
Very true.
He does write some incredibly motivating and positive.
He's a happy chap.
He just puts out these amazing little nuggets of positivity.
Scott Motion says, US seller, but I love Tat Chat. Oh, that's fantastic.
Nice.
And yeah, we're very proud of ourselves, Peter Cummins. It is a fantastic achievement. 2K raised for charity. It feels nice to be able to say you were part of that, which is fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amy B asks, Nick, are you going to do any thrift stores, charity shops when you come to the States? Oh, good question.
We hope to, yeah. We're going to have a couple of days out from the parks. We're hiring a car. We're going to head over to Clearwater as the plan. And somebody from the States told me there's a few thrift stores there. So if we've got time and the inclination, then yes.
You're going to have to just pop in,
but there'll be beach and restaurants and stuff. And it's like, but yeah, I think that's the idea.
A few drinks and just wander through, and you're like a bit,
a
bit tipsy.
I can't wait to get out there, and I think we're going to have to do it. Make a little vlog in a big thrift store.
Tap Peddler says, question, may have missed it, but how did your boot sell go when you sold? I'm really sorry, but we didn't vlog it. It was just didn't happen. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. We absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun. Like Beck and I were both prepared that we were going to have a bicker about something, because we were like, oh my god, we're going to open the car boot, people are going to come in and we're going to get flustered and we're going to start having words with each other. I mean, I was thinking that, and Beck was probably thinking the same thing as well, but it went so smoothly. Like we just handled it like veterans. It was fantastic.
Good to hear. So are you planning on doing another one this year, or leave it till next year?
Oh, we might. I don't know. We might even do one in the next week or two. Just we've still got a lot of stuff that we want to. It's become like a fun thing to do.
Wow.
And we've still got loads of stuff that we could just get, do with getting rid. So.
Oh, Graham says, get your kicks on Route 66 thrift stores. We'll be a long way from Route 66 down in Florida. So.
M. Julie Core says, hey guys, catching you on my break at work. Fantastic. Okay.
Oh, we're
Thank you
on the
guys. Oh yeah, wow, yeah. It's 7 o'clock. RJ says thanks guys for another great show. Keeps me buzzing now. Been full time for 3 months, loving the vids. And just that's a great comment to finish on, because I think it's just that's the benefit of the YouTube community and the Facebook chat. Sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes I can find social media online a bit constant, but that kind of worry for me is always overshadowed and by the huge benefit of just having the support from the community, because the support from the community is so important when you're doing this. And it's really weird to think that up until a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have even been aware that it was out there.
Yeah. Well, I think if there's any sort of level of service that we provide with these chats, it's just hearing people talking about what you're going through as a viewer.
Yeah.
And that's what I got out of finding YouTube in the first place. And that's what I still get out of taking part in this. It's knowing that other people understand the problems, other people understand the highs of this. And yeah, that's all it is, simply. Exactly. It's just knowing that others are going through the same stuff you're going through.
David M, the car boot picker, says has donated £2 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Really fantastic. And Karen says, I've deleted the Facebook app off my phone only because I was constantly on it. Yeah, that's exactly what I've been finding. It can be a time sink, but I suppose there's a balance to be had. I mean, I would recommend that it's a great source of support as well. I mean, as Jay found out, who's inspired the topic for this chat, actually found out how great and supportive it can be. Whether you're having a great day or whether you're having a terrible day, that it's a place that you can pop into and share how it's going, and you're going to get a supportive response. I absolutely love that.
Jason's just said, Z, it was great seeing you and Bex at the car boot. I have sold half the figures already.
Oh, Jason. Yeah, Jason. I met Jason at the car boot when we were selling, and he came across an amazing haul. He picked up some epic figures, like really cool video game related and really good quality figures, and he's been doing well with them by the sounds of it. That's fantastic. A really good pickup. Really good pickup.
Cohen says we're all in the same boat, just on different decks.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. So that is amazing. Okay. On that note, we'd just like to say thank you everybody that's watching. That's 130 people watching right now, which is amazing. If you enjoyed the chat, found it useful, please leave a thumbs up and a comment, any questions in the comment section. You can obviously click on the Chat Facebook group link in the description. I've left a link to Nick and Andrea's YouTube channel, which almost seems so like, what's the point? But I do it anyway. But really appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll probably be back on Friday for the Friday Chinwag chat with Beck and I. Nick, have you got a chat lined up for Thursday at all this week?
I haven't had a chance to get anything sorted, so don't know.
Don't know yet, but you'll be back on Sunday though, won't you?
Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday to hang out and
normal service will be resumed.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you in the next one.
Cheers, Ed.